Welcome to Flashback, a recap of stories that made headlines during the week, and will begin on Monday, where the long queues returned to filling stations across the nation's capital, Abuja, as motorists struggled to buy petrol. Some of the filling stations visited were shut, while a few with the product experienced endless queues.
The weekend was a tough one for most motorists and commuters as the fuel scarcity became worse. Fuel queues had returned to petrol stations since Thursday and have persisted. Some of the few stations we visited are shut, while several others with the product are experiencing endless queues, with gridlock building up in some areas in the city. Yaya Hamred is a taxi driver who has spent hours in the queue. Despite his long wait for fuel, there is still no hope of getting the product.
2 hours now in this queue, and the scarcity is not easy, and it's not a good thing for us, because like we taxi drivers, it affects us a lot. We can't walk.
For the starting of the fuel, they say they are removing the subsidy, like we will not be suffering of getting the fuel again. So I see no reason why the fuel is scarce. The fuel is hard to get and everywhere. So I don't know where we are going to this Nigeria.
Some motorists explain that the price of PMS has been jacked up. The product now sells for between 700 to 800 naira outside the city center.
You might go some first station, might sell 690, 670, some sell 700, 740. No, they don't have a specific amount that you do sell here.
Somewhere like Kaduna Road, some of their filling stations there are selling 750. If you go somewhere like even Jukwe, Karo, the same thing. So I bought 750 3 days ago in Karo, Azix.
In Abuja, street hawkers of petrol are already having a field day. They now leverage on the desperation of motorists to sell petrol as high as 1,000 naira for a litre.
And still on Monday, Nigerian midstream and downstream petroleum regulation authorities said there weren't plans to increase the pump price despite widespread speculations. They urged Nigerians to discard the rumors and said it is working with other agencies to address the issue.
This is a volatile liquid, and when there are thunderstorms, we had to suspend ship-to-shore movements, and it also affected the loading of trucks at the depots. So we had to suspend all of that during the thunderstorms for safety reasons, and that's why you see this tightness.
What we can assure Nigerians is that they should go about their business and purchase the volume that they need. There should be no panic. There is no intention or any anticipated increase in price, and so that's the authority, and the NNPCL will continue to collaborate together to ensure that there is
Then on Tuesday, President Bola Tinubu announced the establishment of the Federal Ministry of Livestock Development. He also inaugurated the Renewed Hope Livestock Reform Implementation Committee to complement the responsibilities of the newly created ministry.
A determined President Bola Tinubu seeks an end to the farmer-herders conflict that has caused death, displacement, and devastation for decades. The newly created Ministry of Livestock Development is not just for the safety of lives and property, but to also boost production and ensure food security in a sector that contributes about 2.3% to the country's GDP.
This sector will boost agricultural productivity, enhance export opportunities, and stimulate economic growth by fostering a robust value chain that benefits farmers, processors, herders, distributors, and consumers alike.
The president also inaugurated the newly established Renewed Hope Livestock Reform Implementation Committee and mandated it to operate independently and free from political influence. He appointed the renowned and respected Professor Atairu Jega as deputy chairman, to drive this process of ensuring inclusion for livestock farmers.
We've identified the model for livestock management. It is done in other countries, in other climes, successfully promoted. It created great economy and empowerment for ordinary people.
This will undoubtedly be a game changer in contributions of livestock sector to the agricultural GDP that is currently abysmal despite our huge potentials.
A new minister that will steer the affairs of the Livestock Development Ministry will soon be announced, and his nomination will be sent to the Senate for confirmation.
And still on the week under review, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Olukayode Ariwoola, on Wednesday warned against misleading and conflicting judgment. The CJN says frivolous interlocutory orders from courts of coordinated jurisdiction is an embarrassment.
Among the 22 justices sworn in to the Court of Appeal bench is Justice Olukayode Adeniyi, who on January 8, 2024, at the FCT High Court Maitama, voided the detention of former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, and ordered his release. He also imposed a fine of 100 million naira on the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for detaining Mr. Emefiele beyond the period allowed by law. Also sworn into the appellate court is the wife of the minister of the FCT, Eberichi Nyesom Wike, and Oyewumi Oyebola, who in one of her judgments at the National Industrial Court reaffirmed Innocent Bola Audu as the president of the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria. The CJN, after swearing in the justices, urged them to be upright in their justice delivery to Nigerians without fear or favor.
In the next couple of months, we shall be having 2 governorship elections in Edo and Ondo states. As usual, the courts will be besieged with plethora of petitions. It is our statutory duty to hear all matters that come before us and adjudicate according to the laws of the land. We must not falter, and we must not tread the path of infamy.
Shortly after, the court rose and reconvened for the swearing-in of 12 judges to the FCT High Court. Among these judges are Victoria Oluwakemi Ariola, Munirat Ibrahim Tanku, and 10 others. The CJN also urged them to be upright in their conduct and not to be swayed by external influence. Governor of Anambra State, Charles Soludo, believes the judiciary has done well and remains the last hope of the common man.
The judiciary in Nigeria, in my view, everything put together, I believe has done well. We have to realize that they are also human beings and they are Nigerians operating within the Nigerian environment.
Then on Thursday, the Supreme Court endorsed full autonomy for the 774 local governments, putting an end to the gross abuse of their affairs by some of the state governors. The court ordered that funds from the Federation accounts into the credit of the councils be paid directly to their respective bank accounts.
The declaration of the Supreme Court stops state governors from directly or indirectly receiving, tempering, or withholding funds meant for local governments henceforth. In the late judgment delivered by Justice Emmanuel Awagim, the Federation account was specifically ordered to ensure that henceforth all monies, including shares from taxes and other sources, are channeled directly into the purses of council with democratically elected officials in place. The governors were stopped from henceforth dissolving democratically elected officials for local government, and doing so would amount to a breach of the 1999 Constitution. In the unanimous judgment, the 7-member justices of the Supreme Court agreed with the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, that the Constitution recognized local governments as the 3rd tier of government. The justices also agreed with him that some state governors have in the past 2 decades been using Nigeria's constitution
to perpetrate unconstitutional acts. The argument of Mr. Fagbemi that the Constitution permitted state governors to receive monies on behalf of local governments but did not permit them to spend such monies on their behalf was upheld. Among others, the Apex Court ordered the Federation account to withhold funds from local governments where democratically elected officers are not in place. It also bars the governors, their agents, from embarking on the dissolution of democratically elected officials at the local government levels and replacing them with caretaker committees. It insists caretaker committees over democratically elected council is unconstitutional. The state government deliberately shies away from conducting local government elections so they can call through the local government council. The constitution did not make local government an appendage of the states, and that no tier of government should be subordinate to another. States are not subordinate to the federal, just as local governments are not subservient to the states. All the requests of the federal government were granted in line with the provisions of the Constitution as conferred by the Attorney General of the Federation.
And finally, Chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum and Governor of Kwara State, Abdurrahman Abdulrazak, said compliance to the ruling of the Supreme Court's judgment granting financial autonomy to local government across Nigeria is a must. He spoke at State to State House correspondents shortly after meeting with President Bola Tinubu alongside his colleagues from Bauchi, Bala Mohammed, and Imo Hope Uzodimma. The NGF chairman said the governors are happy with the devolution of power as it relieves the burden on the governors.
Welcome the ruling of the Supreme Court. Compliance is a given, and our Attorney Generals have applied for the enrollment order, which we'll study carefully. But by and large, governors are happy with the devolution of power in respect to local government autonomy. It relieves the burden on governors. People really don't know how much states expense in bailing out